Malware analysis. Malware analysis procedure. First, you have to prepare the test pad. Now, for analyzing the malwares, what we have to do, we should do it on virtual machine. We should not do it on real machine because it can infect your own machine when you are analyzing those malwares, and it can corrupt your machine also. So whenever you try to do the analysis for the malware, we should do it on virtual machines. So what we'll do, we'll install the virtual machine, either VMware or Hyper-V, we can choose any of these. Then after creating the virtual machine, we'll install the operating system in that is the guest operating system in the virtual machine. Whatever the guest operating system we need, we can install Windows, we can install Linux. So that it depends on the malware we are trying to test and the tools we are having to test it. Whether we are having Windows tool, we are having Linux tool. So depending on that, we'll use the operating system. Then isolate the system from the network by ensuring that the network card is set to host only or LAN segment. That means separate the virtual machine from the network, so that when we try to run these malwares, they will not infect other machines in our network. So other machines, maybe our other machines are important machines, so we don't want to infect those machines with these malware. So we should separate our virtual machine from the network. Then disable the shared folder and the guest isolation also. So share folder, we will disable it so that it will not go for the network, and we should disable the guest isolation. We should enable the guest isolation also, that will isolate the system, guest operating system, from the physical machine. Then copy the malware over the guest operating system, and then you can start the analyzing. You can start the analyzing procedure. So for analyzing the malwares, we have option to perform static analysis when the malware is inactive. That means malware is not running, and we can try to use these tools to check their codes and check their whatever the codes they are having. Second, we can collect the information about what string values found in the binary with the help of string extracting tools such as bin text, so that we can identify the strings of those viruses, so that we can identify other viruses by using the same string. The packaging and compressing technique used with the help of compression and decompression tools such as UPX. These tools are for doing the decompression and compression decompression tool to check this. Then we have these tools like bin text to see the strings of those malwares. Then we have other tools to check the other systems in our other process or other things are in our system. So when we run the process, when we run the malware, so what happened to your system, we can check. We can set up the network connection and check that it is not giving any error. So when you are running the malware, you will check this, then we will run the virus and monitor the process actions and system information with the help of process monitoring tools such as Process Monitor and the Process Explorer. So we can use normal task manager also, or we can use these different tools like Process Monitor also to monitor the process, what happened when we execute that virus or execute that malware. So what processes are starting, which new processes are running are there. We can check by using this Process Monitor. We can use OLIdebug proc dump to see the debugging thing, like we can see the request services and DNS tables information, attempt for incoming and outgoing connection. We can open the whole code of the virus and we can see what is happening in the background. What are the requests and what are the DNS tables information, it is there in this. We can use this OLIdebug tool. Then we can use the IDA Pro also. Then we can use the online site which is called VirusTotal. It is also for doing the analysis. VirusTotal is a free service that analyzes the suspicious files and URL and facilitate the detection of viruses, worms, trojan, etc. So we can use these different tools to analyze the virus or worm malware. Also we can use this online tool. Then we have these different analysis services or tools which we can use to analyze the malware or viruses or trojan or worms. So this is my virtual machine. What I did here, I isolated the machine from the network. I have disconnected from the network. And how we do this, if you are using the VMware, you have option here in the setting of the VM. You will go to the VM setting, and in the network adapter you can put it to the host only. You can put it to the host only. This is a private network shared with the host. That means your machine will only connect to the to your host. So guest machine can only communicate with the host and no other machine, like it will not communicate with any other machine in the network. Now if you don't want it to connect to the host also, so you can put it onto the separate LAN segment. You can put into the separate LAN segment, then this will not, it will also not do the communication with the host. So it will totally remain in the separate, it will separate from the other machine. Then you can use the different tools we have like IDA Pro, Oli Debug. You can use these tools to open the virus. You can use IDA Pro. You can use the disassemble a new file. You can work on your own. You can load the old disassembling, like you have already disassembled some files, so you can check those files, or you can open the total new file. So what file you want to disassemble, so you can go to that. Like I have these viruses available here. These are the different viruses, so I can check these viruses. I can open these viruses. I can check how it works. So these are the viruses. Then we have malwares also, a worm, different trojans also. So we can use this, or if you have created your own, you can check those also. Like I have created this so for example, these are the viruses we have. So any of these we can check. These are the different trojans and viruses. Let's check this one, msn.exe. Now it is going to open it. It is going to create the segments and load as code segment, and I'll say okay. It is a binary file. Then it is saying the loaded binary file can be disassembled in various modes. Please select the desired mode. You can select it on 32-bit, 64-bit or 16-bit mode. I'll go with 64-bit. So it says you have just loaded the binary file. IDA cannot identify the entry point automatically as there is no standard of binaries. So please move to what you think is an entry point and press C to start the auto analysis if you want to do the auto analysis. So this is what it has opened. It is saying that this file has been generated by this inactive IDA Pro, and this is the hash value. This is the MDA5 hash, SH256 hash. This is the file. This is a binary file. This is the base address, and these are the things all that. You can see now different things have structure, enumerations. You can import and export other things. You can go to view. You can open different view. you can see the script. You can check these different windows. This is output window. Now because it has not automatically get the entry point, it has not analyzed this automatically. So here you can see this, that how it is going to execute it. This is window view, IDA view. This one, this one, the start one, how it is going to execute. Then the sub function. This is the sub function. Then this is sub function. This is second sub function. This is the last sub function. So you can see the Hive view here in hexadecimal. You can see the hexa view. You can see the structures. Is it there? You can see the enumeration part, and this is for the importing. You can import these. This is doing to import and export. This is the hexadecimal view. So here you can analyze the malware, how it is going to work. So you can analyze the code and function, how it is going to work and how it is going to start, and what it is doing here, what function it is executing, and where it is jumping. So you can check all these things. Then this is static analyzing. It is static analyzing, that means the virus is not running here. We have just seeing the code of the virus. Now when you want to see the dynamic analysis, then what we do, we execute the virus itself, and then we'll see how it is going to impact our system, what process it is going to run, what network it is going to try to communicate, and whatever changes it is doing into the registry. For that we have different tools which we can use to see those things. Like for example, we have different tools like we have analysis tools, like we have monitoring tools, we have port monitoring tools, we have process monitoring tools, we have registry monitoring tools. We can use to monitor these things. We can do it by using the Windows default tools also. Like for example, we can use task manager to see the process information, what process are running. We can see in detail what processes are running here. We can see the process which is running in the system. Then we can see the services running in the system. Then we can see startup things here. Then for checking the network activity, we can go to CMD. We can use the netstate command. We can see what it is going on. This is not showing anything because no process is running or no network is running. If I say A, then it is going to show you all the network connections or our system is listening on. These are listening on. So with netstate we have different options to see. We can see display all connection. On listening, we can see use B to display the executed involved in creating each connections. Then we can use E to display Ethernet statistics. We can use F to display fully qualified domain name also. We can use N to display addresses and port numbers in numerical form without resolving it. We can use to show that display for the protocol, specific protocol. We can use the O to owning the process and associated connections. So we can use these different options to check different status of our network process. Or to go easy, we can use the separate tool for monitoring the network, port monitoring tools. Then we can monitor the registry also, and registry we can go directly, but it is difficult to do that, to monitor that by using manual monitoring, like manual checking, because there are lots of registries are there, so manually checking is difficult. So we can use the tool, we can use the tools which is available here to monitor the registry. Next is how to detect trojans. Now same as we do the analysis, active analysis, same we can do the detection also. So just like we did the analysis, we can detect the trojan also. So when the trojan runs, they do multiple things. So for detecting the trojan, we can scan for the suspicious open ports. We can scan for suspicious running process. We can scan for the suspicious registry entries, scan for suspicious device drivers installed on the network, on the computer. Remember, device drivers, they hide the DLL files there. Then scan for the suspicious Windows services running, because these trojans will make our machine as a server. It can make our machine as a FTP, SNMP, FTP, or the HTTP server. Scan for the suspicious startup programs which is running when our system is starting. Scan for the suspicious files and folders if suddenly they come. Scan for the suspicious network activities. Scan for suspicious modification to the operating system files. Run the Trojan scanner to detect the trojans. So we can run the Trojan scanners, we can run the tool to detect it, or we can do it manually also. So first, scanning for suspicious port. Trojan opens unused ports in victim machines to connect back to the Trojan handlers. Remember, when it is when your machine is infected with the Trojan, then always it will do what? It will try to connect the Trojan handler, that is the attacker. And for that, it will try to establish the connection from the attacker machine. So look for the connection established to unknown or suspicious IP addresses. We can do that by using the netstate command, as I said. We can use the netstate command by using -an N option. A is for all options, all the connections, and N for using N is for showing the numerical way of numerical IPs and port number. So it will display the port number also, and it will display numerically, it will not show you the name. So you will check that whether someone is trying to connect it, whether someone is trying to establish whether the connection is established with some unknown system. Then we can use port monitoring tools such as TCP view and current port. We can use these tools like TCP view, show details listing of all TCP and UDP endpoints on your system, including the local and remote addresses and state of TCP connection. Then current port, this CUR port is a network monitoring software that displays a list of all currently open TCP IP and UDP ports on your local computer. So on the machine, you want to do the check whether it is opening any other connection or not. So what you will do, you will go to CMD and you can just type the netstate command with -an option. So you will see whether it is establishing any connection through the unknown. Okay, it is going to list for all the ports. So whether it is establishing a connection to the unknown site, unknown port, or unknown IP address. So you can check this machine is listening on port number 21, 80, 88, and these are the different ports, and it is only listening on it. Now here you can see that this is established connection, and this is the Trojan which is establishing the connection to the command and control center. You can see that this is what, using this port 5552, it is established the connection with this IP 192.168.0.155 on this port. So this is my suspicious port number, and this is the suspicious IP address. So you have to know that this is what the suspicious one. Now you will use the different analysis tool that will give you the detailed information. For example, you will use these port analysis tools, like I will use the port monitoring tool. I can use TCP view, I can use current port. For example, let's say we'll use TCP view. You have to install it. And that was actually command line tool. We'll go for graphical one. Command line, it was executed and just disappear. So this one you can see all the connection which is established, and here you can check whether it is using some unknown port connection. These are all UDP. These are for the DNS process. Then down there you have these different ports of TCP, and here you can check we can see the server here, that Trojan port. And because it is live, so it is changing, and it is showing in changing view. I will pause it. So because it was live, so I paused that. It started again. And we can see the process property. This is the process. We can end the process and all. Now this is the simple TCP view. We can use the current port also. It will also show you what are the current connections is going on. It is loading. It will take a little time. And now we can see here these are different connections are running, and first it shows UDP because UDP mostly viruses use Trojan use UDP ports. So you have to look for the suspicious service and port which is using your system, just like this one. This one is a Trojan which is connecting this host IP 192.168.0.155, and here you can see the detailed information. You can see that this is the process ID, it is using TCP, this is using local port, and this is the remote port, this is the remote IP, and this is the machine name. It is also showing the machine name who is establishing the connection. Then it is showing the file also here, that file which is using this, which is the actually trojan.exe, and it is located where it is located. It is showing the path also for this file which is executing this connection, and then it is showing here the process created on which time and date. Then it is using which users authentication, which is using administrator authentication, process attribute, and it is also showing the add-on date also, added on this date. So this will show you detail. Instead, in this command line, it only show you that this is the available, this is the connection established. This will show you the detailed information about it, that this one is running from which exe and all that. Then scan for suspicious process. We can scan for the process also. Trojan camouflage themselves as genuine Windows service or hide their process to avoid the detection. So they will try to hide by using the genuine Windows services. Just like you will see like here explorer.exe. So you will feel this is normal explorer.exe. So some Trojan use PEs like portable executable to inject into virus process such as explorer.exe or web browsers, and processes are visible but looks like a legitimate processes, and also helps bypass desktop firewall. So it looks like legitimate, but it will show when you check the process, it will show you the process, it will look legitimate, but it is not the legitimate process. Trojan can also use rootkit methods to hide their processes. Now if the Trojan uses the rootkit technique, then it will not show you under the process monitor tool also, because it will try to hide itself from there also. But normally rootkit techniques are very destructive type of techniques, like it will destroy, it will corrupt the operating system also. So mostly they use what they try to use the camouflage technique, like it will hide into a normal process. Use process monitor tools to detect hidden Trojan and backdoors. So we can use the process monitor tools, like process monitor is monitoring tool for Windows that shows files, system registry and process thread activity. We can use different tools, we can use these different tools to monitor the process. By default tool we have, which is what task manager, and also process monitor we have in Windows, or we can use the other tools also like process explorer and these other tools. So for monitoring the process in Windows, we have default tools like task manager, where we can monitor the detailed process, normal process, and we can monitor the detailed process we can check, or we can use the different process monitoring tool we have. Like it will show you here in task manager also, it will show you that which process is running, what is the process ID, status, username which is using the privilege of that user to run, CPU and memory status it will use, and it also show you the description about it. And it shows the process, Trojan process shows here. Like for example, this one is this is our Trojan which is running here. It is showing the description here, but it is, I have used the normal name here server, but attacker do use the common looking name in the process, like this SVC host, which is very common here, you can see. Then we can use explorer.exe, which is also common here, and it can use the different common names like this. So it shows here, but it uses the normal name, so avoid the detection. So you have to look for the suspicious which is running like this. Now this task manager is not showing the detail, so we can do what? We can use the third party tools Like we can use Windows process monitors. Do I have here? So instead of task manager, we can use these tools also, like resource monitor, or we can use performance monitor also. Will show you the current performance of your system. So in that performance, it will show you the system process also. You have to add the collector set. You have to add the counters here for the process. For services, for process, there are lots of things here, so you can add these here. So it will show you the status of that. Then you can check the resource monitor. We show you these process here which is running with description, like these are the process running which is using CPU. These are the services, associated handles. Like this server.exe which is running there, how much thread it is running, and who's using network also. We can see that this server.exe is also using the network resources, network activity, TCP connections we can check. So this server.exe is using this connection, you can check here. We can check the listening ports also. And here also you can see the virus Trojan that is listening on your system. So these are the different tools you have to monitor the process. Then we can check this scan for the suspicious registry entries. So registry entries also we should check, where it will put the entry for running the system, running the Trojan virus every time we start the system. And Windows automatically execute these instructions in run registry, run services registry, run once, run services once, and under the hotkey classes root x file shell open command, it will, you can see this. So scan for these registries, you can scan for these registries there in the system, and these registries are there where run the which is used to run the program when your system starts. So scanning registry values for suspicious entry might indicate the Trojan infection, and Trojan insert instructions at these sections of registry to perform malicious activities. So we'll use the different tools to monitor the registry. We can do manually also. We can use these different tools also which finds the registry errors, indeed registry junk, and helps in detecting registry entries created by Trojans. Just like we have JV16 power tool also. We can use this tool to monitor the registry. Then we have registry entry monitoring tool like Reg Scanner. This Reg Scanner allows you to scan the registry, find the desired registry values that match to the specified search criteria, and display them in one list. So you can search for the registry and it will show you all the registries matching with that search. Then these are the other registry tools like RegShot. It will do this, it will take the snapshot of the registries. So when your system is working properly, you should take the registry snapshot. Now when you feel that something is going wrong, then you will take the snapshot again, and then you will compare the registry when your system was properly working, and right now when it is not working properly. So you can compare that whether the registry is having some new registry. So it will show you the new registries which is before taking coming which comes after the first snapshot. So this is also a good tool to monitor the registry. So by default you can go for the regedit command. You can go to run, and then you can type regedit command. It will open the registry. Now here you have to find the registry for these different options. Now this is difficult to find the registry. You can use the find command. I will say I want to find run. Now it is showing all the run registries here. Run as inactive user. Then I will go for find next. This is the next. Find next. This is next. Now we'll go like this, next, 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 and then you find whether any unwanted registry entry is there or not, which is you don't know. So you can find or this is what the default tool, but you can use these advanced tools also, like this JV16 power setup. So I'm going to install it. Now this one is to check the registry. You can search the registry, and there is a tool RegShot. Now RegShot will do what? It will take the snapshot of your registry. It is a good tool when you are having registry changes. So when your registry is okay, your system is working properly, then you should take a snapshot for your registry. Then when you feel something goes wrong, then you can take the snapshot of the registry to check. So it comes handy when you are doing the analysis also. This is what the tool. Now first you will take the first snapshot, then after changes you will use the next snapshot. Scan directory, it is going to scan the C Windows directory. By default output it will going to store it into this directory, and you can add some comment into logs. So it will generate the log, and it is going to store the log here on this temporary directory. You can put it on some other directory also. Now what I will do, I will take a snapshot first. So I will take first snapshot, shot and save. Now it is doing what? It is taking the snapshot of my whole registry. It will take a little time, and this is JV16. After installation you have to restart it, and after restart you can do main tools. You can use these tools to clean up your system, clean up and speed up your system. You can do these different things. You can use the registry tools also to clean the registry, find the registry, registry find and replace, registry manager, monitor information, and registry compactor. So you can do all these things with this tool, and you can manage the registry. You can see the registry, you can find the registries also. Now this one RegShot has taken the first snapshot, and it is asking you to save the snapshot. So I will save it as a first one. So I will say this one is the first. So it is saving the report. Then you will take the second shot. You will say, it is saying now second shot is available now. So second shot you will take when you feel like your registry is changed, or you may feel like your registry has changed by some Trojan or something. So you can take the second shot also. For example, what I will do here, I will install a small software here. Now this software is going to do what? It is going to change the registry. So after installing the software, I will take the second shot of the registry, and we can compare both the registries, like what is the changes we have first and after. This is the small software, so I'm going to install it to just see what changes we have in registry and how we can see that, how it looks. Now the software is installed. I'm not going to launch this software, and I'm taking the second shot now. So it will do what? It will do take the snapshot of the registry again, and we can compare them, like what are the changes now we have. Now it has taken the snapshot, second one. So what I will do, I will save it as a second. Now we have option to compare. So now we can do compare those first and second shot. Now we have option to compare those. So when you click on compare, so it is going to compare those shots, first and second shot, and will show you what are the changes we have in the registry. So it will show you after taking the first shot what are the changes we have in the registry. So it is easy for us to find out the new registries created. So whenever the virus Trojan comes, they do create new registries. And now you can see the report here, and it is showing here that this is the software, and this is the date and time, and this is the computer name for the first shot and second shot taken by the administrator. Key added. Now see, it is showing 94,583 keys are added, and you can see here it is related to that R drive image command. This is the software we did install. So these all registries we are seeing here related to that new software which we have added. You can see this is the registry for R drive. So it is showing all those new registries which is created after installing those software. And total changes is this. So you can find out that what are the new things come after we have taken the first shot. Still it is little difficult to find because there is lots of registries are there. Registries are too much, so it is little difficult to find, but we can see the difference here. Then to scan for the suspicious device drivers. Trojans are installed along with the device drivers downloaded from untrusted sources, and use these drivers as a shield to avoid detection. So they comes as also as a untrusted drivers from the untrusted sources, and they use this as to hide themselves. So they can hide themselves by using the drivers directory, and it install the DLL files in that directory to hide themselves. So we can scan for the drivers. So we can scan for suspicious device drivers and verify if they are genuine and downloaded from the publisher original site. We can do it by the Microsoft default tool using MS Info 32. This is the simple. This is the default tool we have. This is the default application we have to find out the system information. So we can go to run and we can type msinfo32, and in that we'll go to software environment system drivers to see the system drivers. It will show you other informations also, and also it will show you the system drivers information. Then we have the third party tools to monitor the drivers like Drive View. This Drive View utility displays the list of all device drivers currently loaded on the system. For each driver in the list, additional information is displayed such as load address of the driver, description, version, product name, company that created the driver. Then we have the other tools also to do check the device drivers. To use Windows default, we'll go to run and we will type msinfo32, and you will see this. This is the whole summary of your system. You can see the summary of your system here. Then you can go for hardware resources. You can check the hardware resources here. Conflict, sharing, DMA, forced hardware, input output, IRQs, memories. Then you can go for components also here. You can check all these components status. Multimedia like CD-ROM, sound device, display device. It is showing you the information about it. Then you can go for the software environment where you can see the system drivers. So this is the system drivers. You can see the name of the driver here. You can see the name of the drivers, then the description of the drivers, and also it will show you the file of the driver, like where it is, which file it is. So it is under the system32 drivers directory. This is the name of the file, acpi.sys, and what type of driver it is. So it is showing that these drivers are kernel drivers, these drivers are file system drivers, these drivers are for this, these drivers are for that. Then it will show you that whether it is started or not. Then it will show you the start mode. That means whenever our system starts, so how these drivers are starting. Is it starting from the booting time, or it is remain disabled, or system time. It is status, current status is running, or it is stop. Status about the driver, is it okay or corrupted. Error control is normal. Accept, pause. That means if you try to pause this driver, whether it is accepting the pause or not, or accept the shutdown. So this is showing the information about the driver. So you can see the description that this driver is for which requirement. So if you see something is not required and it is there, then you can try to clear that driver also. So if you don't understand the particular driver, which is suppose something I don't know, then we can clear that driver. Maybe it is the driver for the Trojan. Or we can use the third party tools such as this driver booster also to check the drivers. So you have to install this. I agree. And it is installing. It will take a little time. So now it is installed. Now it is not free. It is asking for the subscription. I will say no thanks. I will use the trial version. So I'm going to use the trial version. If you like it, then you can go for subscribing. Now trial versions, it says install completion, drive booster is this, and now it is started. And now you can see it is scanning. Now it is showing this, that you are having some error about the device. You have to update. You can update the auto driver. You can unplug the device data. The fives are unplugged. PC scan you can do. So there is a problem here, you can fix it. One device driver found, that is what, and that what. For doing the troubleshoot, what we have to do, these all features are for Pro, which is what we have to activate for it. So I will say no, I don't have. Now that is for the updating, that is for the scanning. Then you have these options here to monitor, to do these things, and these are the different devices which is up to date. So you can see all the devices where you have, these are the drivers also. So it shows you the information and detail also. What is this? You can uninstall also. You can go to Action Center. You can system performance, you can install these different tools also. So basically it is a driver booster where it will show you all the different drivers, it will show you any error comes, it will allow you to update also. Then scanning for the suspicious Windows services. Trojan response Windows services allow attackers remote control to the victim machine and pass malicious instruction. So Trojan renamed their process to look like a genuine Windows service in order to avoid the detection, and Trojans employ rootkit techniques to manipulate and hide itself. It can use the registry also to hide itself, like it can put the registry key to hide its process. Then also it can use the kernel calls rootkit technique to hide itself also. Then we can check the process. If it is not using the rootkit technique, then we can see the process, we can see the service running. Mostly, like suppose it is using your machine as a FTP to collect the data, so it will enable the FTP server in your system, and it will enable the FTP service in your system. It can enable the HTTP service, FTP service, and other services to make your machine as a server and connect as a client, so that it can access your machine and get the data from your system. So you can check the suspicious services, like you see enable your service, FTP service is enabled in your system, but you don't know, you have not enabled it. That means there is a problem, somebody has enabled, the Trojan is enabling the FTP service to download your files. So we can use normal task manager, we can use the service manager to check the services, or we can use the different service manager tools to check the services. We can use this Windows service monitoring tools like Windows Service Manager ServMon. This Windows Service Monitor simplifies all common tasks related to Windows services. It can create services, both Win32 and legacy driver, without restarting the Windows. Delete existing services and change services configuration also. Sometime when you start or stop the services, you need to restart the system, so it will do without the restart, or without restarting the system also. It can do restart or start the services also. So this will also use for the managing of the service, and also we can monitor the service by using this tool. And also we have some other tools also to manage or monitor the services. For simple monitoring the service, we can go to the task manager, and here we can see the services. We can see the services which is running, which is stopped, which is running. We can see those services name here, and also we can see the description also. Like this is for FTP service, and you can see the FTP service is running in my system because the FTP server is running on this server. Now if you see the service is running and you don't know why it is running, so you can stop it. Or you can see the more detailed services, go to open services here. Now here you will see the detailed information about the services, and you can see which is the startup type of the service. We can see the description of the service, the whole description. We can see extended view. In extended view, when you select any service, you will show you the description here. So when you select any service, it will show you the description here. The description which is showing here, so sometimes it is difficult to read from here. So we can go to extend view and we can just select the service, and it will show you the information about the service. What is the service, why it is running, what it do. So you can see that, like you can select the service, it will show you the description here. You can do stop, pause, restart, and right now it is running and it is automatic. That means whenever your system start, it automatically start the service also. If you want to change, you can go to the property, you can change these behaviors, you can put it to disable, you can put it to manual. That means when you need, then it will start. You can stop, you can pause the service, and these are the dependencies also. Dependencies like for running this service, it need to be run these services. So here you can manage the service, or you can use these third-party tools also to check the services. Like this auto run, it shows the services running, it shows the command, it shows the exe also, it shows the detailed information. It shows here that this is running from this registry, this is the file. So it is showing which one is running from the registry. It is showing everything. You can see the logon, you can see the Explorer services, Internet Explorer is if it is running, scheduled tasks if there is any, then services which is running, drivers, you can see Office services, Microsoft Office, Cider gadgets, network providers, LSA providers, codecs, boot executes, image hijacks, app init, known DLLs, these are known DLLs, Win logons, WinSock provider, print monitor, and everything. You can filter it also, what you want to see or what you don't want to see. You can search also. And we can see the server here. Where is it? Okay, it's showing about the server, that this is the one which is running from temp. So this is what to monitor the services. Then scan for the suspicious startup programs. Startup programs that checked startup program entries in registry. Details are covered in this next slide, like what are the registries we should check. So first you should check the registries, that startup registries which always start when whenever the software wants to start, whenever our system starts, is put the registry on those startup registries. Then we should check the devices drivers automatically loaded. These drivers which is loading from this directory which is automatically loading. Then we can check the boot.ini file or BSD boot manager entries. Now in Windows, latest Windows, we don't have boot.ini file. We have this BSD command to manage the boot entries. Then check for Windows services automatic startup. We can check this services.msc to check which services are starting automatically, as we have seen already. Check the startup folder. Startup folder is these folders we can check. Under the program data Microsoft Windows start menu program startup, or under the user for the specific user, under the user name and app data roaming Microsoft Windows start menu, program startup. So these directories will have a shortcut for the programs which is going to start when our system going to start. So we check the registry we can use the startup program monitoring tool like security auto run. This will check all the startup programs. This security auto run displays a list of all applications that are loaded automatically when Windows startup. Like we have already seen this auto run. Then we have other tools to check these startup programs, monitoring tools we can check, and normally we can see it in task manager also. Then scanning for suspicious files and folders. So Trojan normally modify the system's files and folders. Use these tools to detect the system changes. We can check SIG verify tool. We can use this tool to check the integrity of critical files that have been digitally signed by Microsoft. To launch this SIG verify, just go to start run and run the SIG verif command and enter. It is going to verify all the drivers installed in your system, whether it is signed by the Microsoft or not signed by Microsoft. Like it will show you all the files which is signed by all the drivers which is signed by the Microsoft. So if you install any unsigned drivers, that may be a virus. So it will show you those drivers which is not signed by Microsoft. Then we have this FCIV command. It is a command line utility that computes MD5 or SH1 cryptography hashes for file. You can download this from this site and it do check the cryptography hashes of these files like MD5 or SH1. Now sometime when you download some files from the internet, these internet sources give you the hash value of those MD5 or SH1 hash cryptographic hashes for that file. So for that security, like when you download the file, if somebody has corrupted the file, so you can compare the hash value which is stored on, which is given by the site, and which you see after computing with this tool. So when you download any file, you will see the hash value of that file also. So those sites do what? They do show you the hash value of the site. So when you download the file, you can compare the hash value after computing by this tool. So when you run this tool with that file, it will give you the hash value of that file. So you can compare the value with the value which is showing on the website. Then we can use Tripwire. It is an enterprise class system integrity verifier that scans and reports critical system files for changes. This is the enterprise version. This is for the enterprise. It do in the large numbers of files in the enterprise, because you have large numbers of files. So it will do for the enterprise files, like large number of files, and it will do scan all those files. Scan all those files and it will show you whether some files are having changes or not. So you have these other tools also, like files and folder integrity checker like FastSum and WinMD5. These are also to check the hash values. So when you run these tools against those files, you will see the hash values. You will see these hash values here. So when you run this tool against these files, it will show you the hash value of those files. Then you can compare those hash values with that file source, like where you have downloaded those files. So FastSum is used for checking the integrity of the files, and it computes checksum according to the MD5 checksum algorithm. And it can also be used, like you can scan your files right now when your system is working properly. You will get the hash value of these all files you have. Then when you feel like your system is corrupted, then what, you can again run the tool to check what is the hash value of that tools. Now if some file is showing the different hashes than the previous hash, that means you compare the hash. Now previously it was different hash and right now it is showing different hash. That means that file might be infected by the virus. So virus do what? It infect the exes and it infect the programs with its own code. So when it added the code, the hash value will change. So when any file integrity fails, like it is changed or somebody has modified, whether it is virus or some attacker modified the files, then the hash value of that file may change. So these tools will do check the changes of hash. It will generate the hash value, but you can compare that hash. So this is also like WinMD5 is a Windows utility for computing the MD5 hashes, which is used for fingerprints of files. These fingerprints can be used to ensure that the files is uncorrupted. So you can use these tools to scan your all files when your system is working properly, and it will show you the hash values of every file. Next time when you feel like it is corrupted, so you can take the snapshot again and compare the hash value of the previous hash. So you will see if any file is changed, just like we did for the registry shot. We have these other tools also to do this. We have default tool available which do verify the this is to verify the driver's signature. So when you run, it will try to find out the drivers which is not signed by the Microsoft. So if any drivers are there, it will detect it and it will give you the report that there is a drivers which is not verified. Just like this, you can use the other third-party tools to verify the hash values. It is saying that there is no unsigned drivers are there, but if any, then it will show you. So like this, you can use the other tools also to verify the unsigned the hash values of the files, so that you can monitor, you can check the values when the file is corrupted. Then you can scan for suspicious network activities. Trojan connect back to handlers and send confidential information to attacker. We can use a network scanner and packet sniffer to monitor the network traffic going to malicious remote addresses. We can run tools such as CAPTCHA to monitor network traffic and look for the suspicious activities sent over the web. We can use these tools like CAPTCHA Analyze Network Analyzer. This is an initiative network analyzer which provides detailed information to help check if there are any Trojan activities on the network. You can see those activities on the network. Our system is connecting which sources, where it can show you the whole detail here. Then one more thing we have online site, online tool we can say, which is VirusTotal. This VirusTotal can do what? It can scan for the suspicious malware files for the analysis. It can do the analysis for the malware files. It can do it online also. You can scan for files, you can scan for URLs, you can go for search also. So like for example, I will choose a file. So the file is under C drive, under my share. So this is the Trojan exe file we have created. So let us try this. I open the file here, I choose the file. Now I have already submitted. Confirm the upload. And now it will do scan. And now you can see it is inquiring and doing the analysis. And then it is showing the whole report here. It shows here that what kind of virus it is, what kind of Trojan it is. You can see the antivirus which can detect, which is detected these as these viruses. These are, it is showing that Acronis antivirus saying this suspicious. uh, this one is saying this is suspicious. It is the adware, this is the this kind of virus it is, and it will show you against the different antiviruses, Avast, Avira. You can say there's different antiviruses like Kaspersky. It is saying that this is the Trojan virus. MSIL.disfa.bob. It is Kingsoft. It is this kind of virus. You can go for detail. This is the detailed information about it. Now it is detected as a virus. This is the behavior of this. So it is saying that 55 security vendors flagged this file as malicious. Now remember, that means 55 type of different antiviruses have detected it as a virus. Now it is taking time. So it has been detected by the 55 security vendors. Total is 69 here with the virus total, and from this total 69, 55 of them has detected this as a virus. It is as a malicious code. Now attacker do what? Attacker do try to encrypt the virus file to save it from the detection. They can use this cryptor tools like this one. It will do use this, choose the file. Let's choose this file, then choose different icons or different things. It is a startup, or let's do encrypt here. So I will encrypt this one using this cryptor, and now it is saying where do you want to save. So I'm going to save it on desktop. Okay, cryptor file. Okay, it is not working properly. Let me see, is it created? It is not created. Again I will try. Now that cryptor is not working properly, but we can use these type of cryptors to do the encryption of these virus, these trojans. So when you do encrypt with this, then very less, then some of these antiviruses, they are not able to detect it. So among the 69, this 59 of them has detected as a virus. So 55 of them detected it as a malicious code. When you do encrypt it, so maybe some less antiviruses will detect it. So this is also the online tool to do analyze those Trojan EXEs. Then virus detection methods. How to detect the virus? Simple scanning, integrity checking, and interception. Once a virus has been detected, it is possible to write a scanning program that looks for signature strings characteristics of the virus. Then integrity checking product work by reading the entire disk and recording the integrity data that act as a signature for the files and system sector. Then interception means the interceptor monitor the operating system requests that are written to the disk. This is the virus detection method. Then Code emulation. In code emulation technique, the antivirus executes the malicious code inside a virtual machine to simulate CPU and memory activities. This technique is considered very effective in dealing with encrypted and polymorphic virus if the virtual machine mimic the real machine. Then heuristic analysis. Heuristic analysis can be static or dynamic. In static analysis, the antivirus analyzes the file format and code structure to determine if the code is viral. And in dynamic analysis, the antivirus performs a code emulation of the suspicious code to determine if the code is viral. These are the techniques for detecting the viruses, and antiviruses use these techniques. Now to countermeasure for the Trojans. Avoid opening email attachment received from unknown senders, block all unnecessary ports, avoid accepting program transfers by the instant messaging, harden weekend default configuration settings, disable unused functionality, monitor internal network traffic for odd ports encrypted traffic, avoid downloading and executing application which is from untrusted source, install patch and security updates for the operating system and application, CD and DVD with antivirus software before using, scan this CD and DVD also before using before using those CD DVD. Restrict the permission within the desktop environment to prevent malicious application installation. Avoid typing the commands blindly and implementing prefabricated program or scripts. Manage local workstation file integrity through checksum auditing and port scanning. Run host-based antivirus firewall and intrusion detection softwares. Backdoor countermeasures are these, like most commercial antivirus products can automatically scan and detect the backdoor programs before they can cause the damage. So if you are using a common antiviruses, then it can automatically detect and it can stop it before doing the damage. Educate the user not to install application downloaded from untrusted internet sites and email attachment. This is very important. No matter how much secure you will do, how much antivirus and security you will do, if the user is doing this, then you can't do that. So you have to educate the users, say that do not install those softwares and do not open the attachments from untrusted sources. Use antivirus tools such as McAfee, Norton, etc. to detect and eliminate the backdoors. Virus and worms countermeasures is like, all in all, you should install the antivirus software to detect and remove infections and as they appear. Pay attention to instruction while downloading files and avoid opening the attachment received from unknown sender as viruses spread via email attachment. Schedule the regular scan for all drivers for the installation of antivirus software. Generate antivirus policies for safe computing and distribute it to the staff. Update antivirus software regularly. Possibility of virus infection may corrupt data, thus regularly maintain the data backup. So it can corrupt your data, so regularly take the backup and do not accept disk or program without checking them first using current version of antivirus program. Ensure the executable code sent to organization is approved. Do not boot machines with infected bootable disk. Known about the latest antivirus threats. Checks the DVD CD for antivirus. Ensure the pop-up blocker is there. Block the pop-ups. Run disk cleanup every time. Do defragmentation. Turn on the firewall on OS. Run anti-spyware or adware every week. Do not open files which you don't trust and which without extension. Then be cautious with the files being sent through the instant messengers. These are the anti-Trojan softwares like Trojan Hunter. It is also, we can say, it is an antivirus which can detect the Trojans, malwares. Then we have these anti-malware software also, which is MCSoft anti-malware, and we have these many other anti-Trojan softwares and antiviruses. We have antiviruses tools, anti-Trojan tools which we can use. Then finally, penetration testing for the Trojan and backdoors. We'll do all these things stepwise, like scan for the running process, scan for the registry entry, scan for the device drivers installed on your computer, scan for the Windows services, then scan for the startup program, scan files and folders, scan network activities, scan modification to the files, run Trojan scanner to detect the Trojans. Then document all the findings, like if the Trojans are detected, yes or no, like no, then you will go for the next step. If yes, then isolate the machine from the network. Then if it is not detected, then is updated antivirus running, no or yes. If no, then update the antivirus, and if yes, find other antivirus solution to clean the Trojan. For viruses, again use the antivirus, test for the suspicious system behavior. First, antivirus is installed or not. If it is not installed, then install the antivirus and scan the system. If the antivirus is installed, then you will check the update is there or not. If it is updated, then okay. If it is not updated, then update the antivirus and then system scan. And if it is not updated, then real-time scanning enable the real-time scanning, and enable the real-time scanning and scan it. Then scanning for running process, scan for registry entry changes, scan for Windows services, startup programs, files and folders integrity, and check OS files modifications. Then suspicious activity found if system is infected, so isolate the system, run the antivirus in safe mode, and if the virus is found, then set the antivirus to quarantine or delete infected files. Otherwise your system is okay. Then for the install another antivirus, so scan the system for viruses found, then format the system with clean OS copy and document all finding. And if the virus does not found, then do this. And if the virus is found, then set the antivirus to quarantine or delete infected files. So this is what the malware threats we have, and we have the countermeasures and the penetration testing methods we have. So we have different tools to do that, and we have to do it manually, or we can do it by using the different tools.